That's the new page, yeah?
Yeah.
You put it up there so that follow the year.
Lenin Bava Kama Daf. Today we are starting the new Perik, the fifth Perik in Bava Kama. Finally, we learn about Sumchas that we mentioned them a few times in the past. So we are up to the Mishnah Shosh Nogach. We're up to the new Perik, Daf Mem Vav Amud Aleph. So this is a case where Shoyd Shenogach es Apara. A Shoyd gored a para bull or a cow bull. Shoyd is a cow when you go to para. Anyway, Shoyd is an ox, yeah, okay, and a para is a cow. The Nimsa Ubra Betzida. And what happened was they found a baby calf on the side. And the question is, did the animal miscarry first before the event occurred? So therefore the shoyd is not responsible at all. Or do we say that no, the shoyd is totally responsible because the shoyd caused it to miscarry, and therefore you have to pay not just for the damaged animal, but also for the baby cat. Then you do, we don't know. And he says, and you do it. It's like nobody knows. If it happened before, prior to the event, so therefore it was not a result of the shoyd's activity, or it happened afterwards. So what do we do? Now remember, it's a tam. A tam always pays only half. So as far as the para is concerned, the cow itself, that's a fact that the shoyd damaged the cow. So mishalem chatzin nezek lepara. But as far as the vlad is concerned, let's say you don't have to pay half, but it's a suffix. And whenever there's a suffix, Sumcha says, "Mammon hamutu b'suffix chalkin divide." But if you nezek levlad, and therefore for the vlad you pay a half of a half, which is a quarter. So this Mishnah will follow Sumchas. What would the Rabbanan hold in this case? Remember, before we learned, the Rabbanan argue. They say there's a principle of hamoitzi mechaveiro. Now you want to extract money from somebody, the onus of proof, the burden of proof is on you. Where they say the same thing here, we'll see. The chain likewise. Para shenochas asher. Now what happens the other way around? The cow damaged the ox, and the cow, the damager, the mazik, then miscarried. And the question is now, where was this Vlad involved in the damages or not? And the Gemara will talk about a case where the Vlad belongs to one person and the cow belongs to another person. A person sold the cow to somebody. He said, "I'm retaining ownership of the Vlad." You cannot buy a Vlad, but if I own the cow and I sold you the cow, I can sell you the cow, but I kept for myself the Vlad. So there are two owners. So the owner of the Vlad is the owner of the Vlad also culpable or not? So Porish and then later you found that this baby calf there, and you do. We're not sure. When did it happen? Was the Vlad involved in the damaging or not? So Mishta again, Mishtalim Chat. Now we read the Mishnah, is going to be a problem. Now we're going to try to work out the Mishnah. Mishtalim Chat Nezik min Apara. So the shoy collects, if the tam collects half the nezik from the para. Where V nezik min Vlad. Now the Vlad is questionable whether it owes half a nezik or whether it's involved. So he's a quarter. The problem with that is, sounds like that the nizik is receiving 3/4 of the damage. Yet a tam, you're only entitled to half. It says it here that half of the damage is paid by the para, by the cow, and then the vlad pays half of half. In other words, the nizik, the owner of the shari, gets 3/4 of the money. That's not right. Tam should only collect half. If the damage was done by a tam, you only collect half the money. So what exactly is Shat Mishnah going to work out? Totally different. The Reish is talking about where the cow was the victim. In the Sefer, the cow was the perpetrator of the crime. And so it's very different. Sorry. Says the Gemara. So Amar Abiyudah said, first of all, Amar Shmuel Zudi v'Sumchas. The entire Mishnah follows Sumchas. The Amar who says, that money that is in doubt is chelkin. And according to other Gemaras, most of them understand pshat. When does Sumchas say Momen Amut chelkin if the animal is out in no man's land? So therefore, neither of them are holding on to the animal. But the animal, let's say, would have been, if the mazik's animal was in the mazik's rishus, and then we have this question. Even Sumchas will agree. We don't say Maman Amut Chelkin because the mazik is holding on to it. He's a muhzik. There's a cheskas Maman involved. It's only when it's out there in the thing. So then neither of them have more chazak than the other one, or it's as if they're both chazakin, and therefore we say Chelkin. Now not just a rule. It's a great rule. And I want to know why it's a great rule. But I might say over I might say over I. Love me say cloud god. What kind of rule expression cloud god? We have a cloud gadol after okay, it's a cardinal principle, a cardinal mitzvah. What do you mean here by cloud gadol? Every principle in the Gemara is a cloud gadol. What do you mean by cloud gadol? Itzich, we need to tell you that. The nizik says, I know for a fact that your animal damage caused my animal to miscarry. And mazik I wasn't there. I don't know, but how do I know? So in this case, you might argue a body b'shema, body odif. Yeah, we say moisich overai. All the Rishonim asked. The nizik, the mazik is murder that his para. You're claiming for me for my para and from my for the para and for the vlad, right? You, the victim, are claiming that I damaged both. I'm murder that I damaged the para, but I'm not murder. I'm damaged the vlad. That's like a murder b'mixes. So I have to swear, and the rule is if I have to swear, but I can't, I can't swear because I don't know. I don't know what happened, so I should pay. Yeah, exactly. So I should be paying. Because so mixes. I'm made that my animal damage a para. I'm not sure about the vlad. The rule is when you make a partial admission, you have to swear on the balance. And the rule in Moshe Shavuos, well, we had other places as well. No, she should pay. So there are a number of answers given. It's one case. My animal, it was one damage. There's one act. It's one act. One balabas who owns both. You're asking me for $100. I'm made to 50. It's exactly what that is. Forget the animal situation. This is the money. So the one answer is, when do we say Matur? Why do we say Matur? What's the logic in that? If you can't swear, he has to pay. Is because you should be able to. You should have known, and because you don't know, it's like a penalty. Then pay. Over here, he couldn't have known. He couldn't have known. He wasn't there. And how do we know what happened? So therefore, because it's called a shema toiv. It's a valid shema. It's if I say you owe me $100, and you say 50, I owe 50. I don't know. You should know if you owe the money or not. So it's called a shema guru. It's a lousy shema. So therefore, you have to swear the balance. Here, it makes sense why I don't know. If I wasn't there, how am I supposed to know? So therefore, in this case, we don't say Mishal. Other Rishonim say the whole idea of if by palga niska, if by tam you pay, if you're made, it's a knas, and made b'knas halacha is krasa, and you put it. So if you're reminded that he damaged, yet he won't have to pay. So if I'm made the part that I'm willing to pay, and I'm just not being made the part I'm not willing to pay, I should be paying for that. Even if I would have been made it directly, I don't have to pay because made b'knas pot. So therefore, the whole idea of Matur she'eni yochel shomasham doesn't apply in this case. Anyway, so that's what Klal Gadol is. That even in such a crazy case, you don't have to pay. That's how strong Hamayis Chaveda is. Okay, another thing is for the following case, if somebody sells a shirt to his friend, we had this in the beginning, and turned out to be that the animals are gory, he can't use it for plowing in his field because it's a wild animal. He can argue, look, there's a mistake here. Give my money back. The guy can say, I don't care, I sold it to you for shchita. Majority of people buy the animals for plowing in a field. I gave you because I thought you're from the few people that won. Let us see. Let us see this person bought it for plowing, this person bought it for shechting. I'm talking about a person who buys a boat. Why don't we just view let's look at the price. If the price that he paid is the normal price, we're assuming you pay more money for an animal that's going to working animal than for shechting. So if it's an animal, if you pay the price that you normally pay for an animal for working, then obviously that's what you bought it for. And let it reflect the truth. And even though in Gemara Babas we'll have a whole discussion that money, the Chacham hold that money doesn't show anything, but over there is because the talks about I use the word tzemed the boker. Over there, the word that you use shows one way, and then you want the money to show differently. It's a clash of two principles, and therefore we say the money is not strong enough. The word you use is stronger. Here, you didn't use any word. You just I'm buying a shirt. So therefore, let the money reflect what kind of shirt you wanted to buy. Suddenly the price for animals are all the same. Amri. So now we say let's say okay, but let's say the meicher has no money. Okay, the meicher now owes the money to the lekech, right? He has to reimburse him for the animal that he bought. What happened? The meicher can't pay. So then, so the guy could take it, then the blokech ends up with the animal anyway. Not because he bought it, but because the mekartos and you owe me money, and the only way you can pay me is the animal. The Amadi Inchi people say, Memari Rashvasa, the person owes you money, Pa'ari Efra. You have to take Subin brand, take brand. So at the end of the day, so what's the difference between Rab and Shmuel? And from here, Rabbein Tam learns, and Rabbein Tam Jen has a general rule that 3 dinim in payments. When it comes to a loiver, if you have money, he can't say. You see clearly money here. Only if the meicher has no money can he say to the cat, keep the animal as a substitute for money. But if the meicher had money, he can't say keep the animal anyway. He has to pay him. So the main time learns from here when it comes to a lender. When do we say all this dinim that the lender can pay with other substitutes? Only if he has no money. If he has money, he must pay with money. When it comes to Nazikin, the mazik has the right to pay with money or komili dematable, or pay with anything else he wants. And when it comes to, but on the other hand, by a lender, if he has no money, he can say to the guy, keep the cow. We don't say to the lender, take the cow, sell it, and it's your problem, and you find him money. We don't say that. But right here, if you have the money, tell him to keep the cow. But when it comes to wages, says Rabbein Tam, it's a third category. You can't, and you have the money. We say to the balabas, you sell whatever assets you have, convert it into money, and pay your employees. The says the Gemara, Rav says, we're talking about the what he could get. We're talking about a case where you could get paid from the meichas. According to Rav, you get your money back. According to Shmuel, you're stuck with the animal. Shmuel says, "Ein hochamam anacharei." We had before. Leit tzricha the ikam. Sorry, Rav says, "How they make why zilbas aruba." You go after the roiv, rubedin shel, radu dezav. And most people buy animals for work, so for to go and plow the field. So therefore, helchin b'mam anacharei. Madach by din in the fashes and everything else you go after Rav. Surely by din in mom you go after Rav, and therefore it's a mekartos. Get your money back. Shmuel Amar Yachol Shmuel, he can say v'shchita mechatulach. The loy azlinan basaruba. You don't go after Rav. Ki azlinan basaruba b'yisuda. When you go after Rav when it comes to isa or din the fashes. Aval b'mamayna loy azlinan basaruba. By mom you don't. Why? Because you have a cheskes mammon. So correct. If you take the miyut together with the ches, combine it with the cheskes mammon, it's more powerful than a roiv. You apply the rule of Meitzim Chaveda Olav. In fact, Tanya Mahachim the Brayser. Shows not the part of Nitur Batida. Ashay was this thing that Shmuel said that this Mishnah follows Sumchas, but the Chachamim would argue and say Meitzim Chaveda is a Mefusha Brayser. It says shows not the part of Ashay gored a cow. But Nitur Batida they found the water of a baby calf. They have any day we don't know about. But it happened that it was carried beforehand, so therefore the mazik wasn't that full. Or did it occur because of the hezek? So mishalim chati nezek lepara, you pay half a nezek lepara, because then everyone agrees you damage, and therefore you're tam, pay half. And with the v nezek levad, and for the vlad you also have to pay half, but it's a suffix, so you divide that in half, it's a quarter. Divrei sumchas, but the chachamim it's clear chachamim argue, like Shmuel said. How do you not know? It says Moshe Rabbeinu said that when he may set up all these but it didn't. Me, anyone who has a tiny else, Yigash Alem should approach them. So we dashin Yagish Railim, bring the burden of proof is on the one who's Tevea. You are trying to extract money from somebody. Go ahead and prove that the guy actually owes you money. It has to be conclusive. No laws of probability. Maskal Ravashi, Halama Likra. What do I need a pasuk for? If I want money from you, what would you have thought without this pasuk? If I want money from you, I just walk in and say, Yomi, I walk into a business and say, hey, Yomi money. Svaru, isn't a pash the svaru? The something hurts, you go to the doctor. In other words, the one who hurts has to prove that it hurts. So the one who wants, yeah, he has to prove it, obviously. What do I need a pasuk for? Elakra, you're right. So you might seem to say, now you don't need a pasuk. Is pasuk swara. If I want to be mitzvah for you, I have to prove it. Elakro, and there's a swara. The meat and the chazaka versus the roiv. It's all swaras. Exactly. So therefore, you don't need a pasuk for that. It's a pasuk swara. Even though Rav himself says that it's the roiv, but the pasuk itself is not coming for roiv. The pasuk is just telling the general rule you bring a raya. The pasuk doesn't tell you there's a raya one way or another which way we follow. So therefore, you can't say that's what the purpose of the pasuk is because they don't know. So therefore, we say, what is the pasuk? When was he right? So what's the pasuk for? How do you know? There are many different ways in the Shem to learn shopping money here. But the way Rashi learns is as follows. Reuven says, Shimon, you owe me $100. And Shimon's counterclaim is, but I once gave you a mashkin and you ruined it, the value of $100. So therefore, I don't owe you any, or whatever, some other taina. We say, we're going to deal with it as two different cases. First, let's deal with Reuven. You owe him $100. Pay Reuven the $100. And then afterwards, we'll go to Shimon and say, okay, now what's your claim? And then if Shimon wins, then Reuven give back the $100. So, how do you know you first go to the Teveya, to the plaintiff? And it says, me about what Yagi Dvarim Alev. Now, what Yagi Dvarim Alev? First, you deal with the Teveya, and then you deal with the Nitva. Two separate cases. Faces wants to know exactly what happened here because if the Nitva says, I have Aiden, that he ruined my mashkin and he owes $100, then why Taka don't you listen to all together? So it's talking about a case where he said, I have Aiden, and Achmed, it takes an interesting thing. That if I say, I have Adim, and I'll bring them within 30, I'll produce them within 30 days. If Taisha says if a person loses a case, he says to the resident, give me 30 days time to pay, he has every right to say that. We give him a certain window. You don't say, okay, pay out right now. Give him a window of 30 days, but not beyond 30 days. So if he says, I have Adim, I'll bring within 30 days, and it's as if he's paying. So we should listen to the cases together. But it's talking about a case where he says, I have Adim. We know you're saying the truth, but they're not here right now. They might come back in 2 months or beyond the 30-day period. That's when we say, today it's Chil, and then we'll listen to you.
Did you ever claim for that much?
No. The other Rishonim talking about that you were mechabel somebody. Reuven's time is you mechabel me, and Shimon's time is you owe me money. Chabala, I owe money as well. But when it comes to Chabala, we don't delay it. We say we want to hear it straight away, and we'll deal with the commercial matter later. Okay, so with our exception. Sometimes we listen to Nitva first when that there are people who want to, let's say, the Rashi has a few pshatim. One of them is the people who want to pay money for his property, and tomorrow they're leaving town. So therefore, he said, I need to deal with this straight away because he owes me whatever it is. I need to deal with it straight away because I'm going to lose these buyers, and who knows if I'll be able to sell the property again or I'll be able to sell for that price. Or my property is losing value. I have buyers there, but because that outstanding case over there, I'm not getting my results. And people think that I'm pressed for money, and they can push me down, and I'm not going to give me the full value for my property. Okay, says the Gemara. Okay, now goes the next part of the Mishnah, which I told you is quite difficult, because it seems from the Mishnah here that the chain para shenochas ashay, if a para, if it's all the way around, the cow damaged the ox, and the cow then had a vlad, an existing vlad, viable vlad, and the question was the vlad involved in the hezek, in this dam, causing the damage or not? So we say that the owner of the cow pays half the damage, like the tam, and the owner of the vlad pays half of a half, which is a quarter. So meanwhile, we'll see in a minute. We'll discuss that. Now it seems, if it's one owner for sure, it seems he's paying 3/4 of the hezek when you're only supposed to pay half. And he was 2 owners. Why is the guy getting 3/4 of a hezek? Why is half and then a quarter?
Half
of the shoyer. There's no blood. The victim in this case has no blood. The victim is the shoyer. The victim is the ox. The mazik is the cow who's pregnant.
half of what? Half of the or half of the car?
No, but let's say he did $300 of damage in the shoyer, and the what do you call it? And the potter was worth $500. So half of $300 is $150. So you owe $150. Sachakol, the nizik, the owner of the shoyer, should receive $150. So we say to the Bala Shor, you pay the $150, you got to pay half the hezek. And then we turn to the Vlad and we say to the owner of the Vlad, well, you also have to pay 150, but since it's a suffix, whether it was involved or not, pay 75. So how much is now the owner of the Shor receiving? 225. Abidini only should get half of the 300, 150. So that's the Gemara. Gemara doesn't understand the Mishnah. What's going on here? It says the Gemara, it says in the Mishnah, Chatzi nezik with a V and nezik. What's going on here? You pay half a nezik and a quarter. Why is this guy suddenly collecting 3/4 of the nezik when all you should be receiving is half? So we're going to have 2 ways of learning Shas and Mishnah. Amar Abaye says, Abaye said like this. We're talking about a case here. Tatsi nezek, half of the nezek. When we say half of the nezek, that on the potter has to pay half of the nezek. If it wouldn't have been a vlad, the potter would have had to pay half the nezek, right? That's what it did, because he pays half and is a tam. So now, since he has a partner, the vlad, he pays half of that because the two partners now. There's the Baal HaPorah and there's the Baal HaVlad. So the potter, the Olaf has to pay half the nezik, $150. But the potter has a partner. The partner is the Vlad. So the potter pays half of what he has to pay, which is $75. Because the Vlad belongs to somebody else. We're talking about a case, not that's the same owner. Then what's the difference? There's no shut from here. We're talking about over here is there's one owner for the cow and there's another owner for the Vlad. So the owner of the cow says, well, of course I did the damage. In total, we have to pay 150, but I had a partner, so I'm paying 75, half of my half. Chatzi nezik is echad ma'abod nezik. What is he paying? When it says in the Mishnah half a nezik, it doesn't mean half a nezik. It means he has to pay his share of the half a nezik, which is how much? Half of that, which is a quarter of the nezik. So that's $75 he's paying to the Baal. Sorry. And then the Revia nezik, when the Mishnah says a quarter of a nezik, that's the owner of the Vlad. The owner of the Vlad says, okay, I have to pay the other half of that half a nezik. I have to pay 75. But how do you know I was involved? It's a suffix. So I'm paying half of the 75. I'm paying an eighth. But the nezik means echad mishmayda b'nezik. So in other words, the guy actually doesn't collect. He doesn't even get half. He gets 3/4 of a half. The Baal Hashem gets 3/4 because we don't know. Now, the part of if there's one owner, if there's taka one owner, what's the discussion here? the guy says, I don't care who owns you, Vlad, you, it's all you. You owe me, I have to receive $150. And the part of the Chad, we're talking about two different owners. The part was owned by one person, the Vlad by another person. Now, sorry? I'll tell you, the owner, I had a part. The only way it could be is because you cannot sell an Uber. You cannot sell a Dover Shalom B'Loilam. What I could do is I own a cow, and the cow, let's say, is pregnant. And I say, I'm selling you, or the cow's about to get pregnant. I'm selling you the cow, but I'm retaining the Uber. So I cannot buy a Dover Shalom B'Loilam, but I owned it before. I'm continuing to own it. All I'm selling you is the cow. Okay, so that's the Matthias. So now, we don't know if the Vlad was involved in the thing or not. Now, by the way, there's a big question mark everybody asks. Even the Vlad is involved. You think that the Vlad, let's say, as we're saying more later, is considered uber yerechim, like part of the mother. But you think the amount of damage that the Vlad did is the same amount as it might be 10%. The Vlad's a tiny little thing there. So the Vlad's role in this damage would be 10 or 20% versus the cow that did the damage is 80%. It sounds to me that everyone is distributed equally. So the Taka say that the Gemara is not out to tell you the exact percentages. It's giving you in theory, but you're right. You got to calculate. Maybe it's 80-20. That the owner of the cow pays with the weight or the power, the strength. I'm not sure even how they assess that, but it's not exactly 50-50. But we're talking 50-50 because that's easy numbers. Now the Gemara says, if let's say that the shor, the owner of the shor, goes first to the owner of the potter because that's the bulk of the damage came from the potter, or definitely the potter did the damage, and he says to him, now what? You owe me the money. He goes to the Baal Potter and says, you're Potter for a fact did damage. You're timing that you had a shut of a Vlad. You prove that you had a Vlad. Maybe the Vlad came out beforehand, and the Vlad was not involved. Pay me my whole damage. How can the Potter get it? The Baal HaShoyer should be able to collect the full 50%, the full time thing from the Baal HaPotter. He said, because it's a fact that you damaged me. You're trying to worry your way out of it by saying I'm ice of the Vlad. Prove it. You prove that you don't owe me the money. Because here's the Vada you do owe me. Exactly.
The 50% belongs to the Nizik.
Yeah.
And now the Mazik is coming along and trying to take out of him by throwing in a mason with the Vlad.
So this is strong. No, here we can say even Sumchas might be, and everyone's made in this case here. It's not a Meitzim B'Chaveda because it's a fact that you owe me the money, and you now have to prove that you don't, because you have to prove that there was a Vlad at the time. It's not because the fact is your Potter, there's no dispute that your Potter damaged my shade. Novos, this case is the Kodim Tavel about Vlad Chila. First he went to the Baal Vlad. He said, look, the Amalek Galis Daitar the Shut for Isli. So right, he goes to the Baal Vlad, you owe me money. So the Baal Vlad says to the guy, the fact that you're coming to me, and everyone knows the partner did it, means that you're saying that my Vlad was also involved. So you're agreeing, you're conceding that I had a partner. So he definitely owes you his share. I don't know if I was involved. So therefore, it's a half of a half, and I'm paying a quarter of a half. So in other words, together you're going to get 3/4 of a half. That's one version. Another version is I forgot the cotton told about that even this is the other Ikidamri, like you, even though he went first to the Baal HaPotter and he says, you caused me damage. Motzi Matchele, the Baal HaPotter can say, I'm not going to pay 50%. Normally, made the other, the Shutrisli, I know. In other words, you're the mitzi in a way that exactly you were trying to say. The Ikidami is saying that you, the owner of the show, you claim that I was the sole mazik. You prove it. I believe I had a shutif, so I'm only going to give you half of what I owe, which is, $75 out of the 150. You go argue with the other guy. Rabbi says, according to you, Abai, the Mishnah should not have said a half and a quarter. It should have said a half of a half, and it was a quarter of a nezek and an eighth of a nezek. Because that's what you're saying it is. Does the Mishnah say a quarter of a nezek and an eighth of a nezek? It says clearly, Mishnah, one guy pays half, one guy pays a quarter. So Abai, your practice is nice, but doesn't fit into the words of the Mishnah. Hello, says Rabbi. We're talking about there's one owner here. So if there's one owner here, what he's paying for 3/4, what's going on? This is what we say. It's either or. Or sometimes he pays half and sometimes he pays a quarter. What do you mean? If the potter is existing here, I got to pay you half an. Remember, a tam you only pay from the animal. You cannot go to the mazik's house and take from his assets, only from the animal. So the potter is present. Okay, especially we did the damage. I got to pay half the money. But if the potter disappeared, we're going to get paid from. You can't only from the vlad, but we're not sure the vlad was involved. So therefore, you only get a quarter. Isa lepara mishtam chatin nezing bepara. Lesser lepara, the potter is not present. The mishtalim revi nezing vlad, because it's questionable whether the vlad caused the damage or not. But here, everyone don't disagree. I guess, and if some want to say that, or this also goes on machlekes, or others say this only goes according to sumchas as well. Following our Mishnah, remember, it's our Mishnah clearly follows sumchas. So we're following our Mishnah that says whenever there's a suffix, you pay half. So here also you pay half. This is according to sumchas, because you only pay megufa, so you can only collect from the animal itself. If the main animal is not here, you can only collect from the vlad. Now, and why? Because he says the timer the so the only reason why you only collect half of the vlad is because we're not sure if the vlad was involved in the damage or not. I believe it's clear, but what happens? No question. The animal was pregnant while it caused the damage. The vlad was inside the animal. Then there's no question. You can collect the entire half from the vlad. Why? Why can you collect the entire half from the vlad? Because Rava the Tamei, Rava says, Rava says that the vlad is considered part, not like those who say uber lav yerechima, that those who argue that the uber is not considered part of it. It's a separate part of the animal. The animal has within it another animal. But here, Rava holds that the uber is part of the animal. It's like in any aver. Doesn't matter if the animal only hits with the foot and does damage. You got to pay this entire animal is responsible. So the uber is also the part. It's like the entire animal is responsible. So if there's no para, you collect the entire hezek from this uber. My time of goofy is considered part of the animal. And Jesus says from here we see that's the halacha that uber yerechima, because that's how Rava paskins. Tanagoylis shehizika, but let's say a tanagoylis. Let's go ahead and cause damage. If a carnagoyla causes damage, you do not collect from the eggs. My timer, the egg is really not considered part of the chicken. It's only considered like the waste, exactly, and therefore it's not considered part of the chicken. If it causes damage, you can't go to let's say the owner, let's say the eggs belong to somebody else, you can't go to the owner of the eggs, or if the chicken disappeared and the only thing that remained behind, and it's a tam, and the only thing that remained behind is an egg, you go ahead and you say, I want to collect an egg. You can't, because the eggs are not considered part of the chicken. I'm talking about eggs here with a shell. But the eggs are, Uda is begidden that's still attached to the chicken else, it's definitely part of the chicken. So it's like a separate part. But the point here is Uba Yerechima, and that's why you can collect from the blood equally. So I'll say the Bible, how to learn Pshat in the Mishnah. See you tomorrow, Mitzvah Shem.